Is Nancy Mashberg. I'm the regional coordinator for the Central Florida Regional Center in Tampa, and with me progressing the slides is Emily Wilson, who is our program specialist at the center here in Tampa. We are also joined today by a captioner. We have the PowerPoint captions that are auto captioning, but for those who would benefit from the extra captioning, I think the link to that is in the chat, and you can click on that and follow along if you find that more convenient. So we are at the Regional Center in Tampa, as I mentioned, and then on this map, I just wanted to show for those who are not in our catchment area that there are 5 other regional centers around the state of Florida. So if you are not in our catchment area, you can still receive the same services from any of the other 5 centers. If you're not familiar with your center, feel free to follow up and contact us to get that referral, that link. So what do we all do at these centers? We all have 4 core services that we provide. So information and assistance, you can contact us, you can find out, listen, I'm having trouble in this area. Is there any solution that can assist me? Where can I get it? How much does it cost? Is there a program that can help me to acquire this? And you can do that by calling us, by emailing us, by coming in, which is our preferred mode of contact. So if you come in, that's even better because we can provide you with device demonstrations. And this is where you have that opportunity for that real experiential process where you can do hands-on, where you can compare one product to another. What are the features of this one, the benefits of that one? How can I program this, customize this? How does it feel? Will this work for me? Typically, that is really all someone needs in order to make a decision about the equipment that will work best for them. But sometimes it's also beneficial to borrow that equipment, to take it home and use it in the setting in which you will be utilizing it. So whether it is at home or if it's at school or if it is at work or just out in the community, that gives you an opportunity to just try it out, see if you're really going to use it, if it's going to accomplish what you thought it was going to accomplish. And so having that short-term trial really takes it over in terms of being able to make that final decision. And sometimes you are working with an agency and they want to see if you can demonstrate mastery of that equipment before they make that purchase for you. And then finally, we can provide group trainings. That can be with professionals, it can be with consumers of assistive technology and like a support group. It can be families and caregivers and support personnel that are there to learn more about assistive technology and how it can benefit the end user. So those are the 4 services that at any center you can contact to receive those services. So when I'm talking about assistive technology, what do I really mean? So that's really any piece of equipment that you would buy, that you would make, that you could adapt to assist you in being more independent or to maintain your function or increase function in any of these areas of your life. And I'm just leaving it up here a little bit to give you an idea. It helps people to think about what are the areas of my life where I'm having difficulty that assistive technology could provide a benefit. And as you're looking at this, you can see it's not mutually exclusive categories because obviously someone who has hearing loss, there's aids for daily living that can help with that. Or if you have low vision or have physical challenges that you can't manipulate things, there's aids for daily living to assist you with that. So these are some of the areas that we have available that can be of assistance to you in terms of the assistive technology that is available. Now today, of course, we're focusing very specifically on computer access and specifically low-tech hardware to access the computer. And I'm being very specific about that because the low-tech computer access is not necessarily where we will start when we're consulting with someone. So our approach is we're going to want to get to know the person a little better before we get started. We want to know what are their abilities, not just what are your challenges or where are you having difficulty, but what are your strengths? What have you tried in the past? What has worked? What hasn't worked? What is your task that you're trying to find a solution for? Is it a new task, or is it a task where now you're having difficulty with where before the solution you had was working? And what is the specific difficulty? Where's the setting in which you're going to be implementing these solutions? Are there going to be other people around? Are you going to be at home? Are you trying to use Excel? Are you trying to get on the internet? So we want to really focus in on what is going on with the person so that the solution is finding the simplest solution to affect a meaningful change. So we don't want to start so low with the solution that they're going to be insulted. We also don't want to go so high they're going to be frustrated. And sometimes that's where people jump, where they'll come in and say, hey, I'm having trouble accessing the computer. I can't click on the mouse. I can't move the mouse around. I want to get that software where I talk and the computer types. And so we have to really work with them to, focus down on building on your own functions, but also in that situation, letting them know what's involved with that kind of complex software and how cognitively taxing it might be, how it's going to impact on your environment and your surroundings. So our focus today with low-tech computer hardware, again, it could be combined with that no-tech because that's where we would start. There are so many options that are built into the computer, that are built in just in the operating system itself, that's built into the accessibility functions, that even in some of the applications, in the settings for those particular applications, there are simple tweaks that you can make, and you don't even have to go out and buy this separate equipment, because that's enough. Sometimes that's not enough, but you can build on that and take it to where we're going to be today. So the thing we're going to start with, we're going to show a very short video just to give you an idea about some of the equipment that we'll be talking about. And then Emily will be showing you in real time some of this equipment and talking about what are some of the factors when deciding. Keeping in mind the right tool is not necessarily the right solution because of what is going on in your support system. What do you feel comfortable with and that sort of thing. So while Emily takes us over, I'll monitor the chat, see if anybody has any questions, or we can also, of course, wait until the end and throw out any questions at that point. So Emily, I'm going to turn that over to you.
All right. Let me go ahead and pray to the technology gods that this video is going to play and everyone can hear it okay. All right, so like Nancy said, we're going to start out with this video that we created that shows a variety of the low-tech options, and then we'll switch over to the live view. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily Wilson at FAAST Central in the Tampa General Rehab Center. Today's topic is low-tech computer options. Last time we talked about built-in, no-cost solutions. Today our focus is on low-tech input options. Once the built-in accessibility features have been explored, we focus on adaptive mouse and keyboard options for those who have trouble with standard input devices. Let's begin with a focus on some unique mouse alternatives. This ergonomic mouse is an option to alleviate the pain and discomfort of repetitive stress injuries associated with the use of a traditional mouse because the vertical grip design keeps your hand and wrist at a neutral angle. While this trackball is great for children with less fine motor control, it's been used successfully with adults with weaker upper body control, such as ALS, by moving the device to the floor and using your foot to operate the trackball. The large left and right clicks can also be used with a switch, such as this foot switch. The Enabler Pro joystick is designed for those with limited hand control and motor skill difficulties. The extra large palm rest allows the user to work in a relaxed posture, reducing strain and tension. The unique anti-tremor feature improves cursor control for those with involuntary muscle spasms and hand or wrist tremors. Now we'll take a look at some adaptive keyboard examples. This is an example of a full-function wireless keyboard and mouse combination. The compact size can be useful to those with smaller hands, limited movement, or one-handed use. The Vision Board wireless keyboard has bold letters and large keys. These features are beneficial for those who have difficulty seeing or accessing a traditional size keyboard. The Big Keys keyboard has similar features, and for those who require additional support, a key guard can be used as a barrier between hands and the keys. Even when I rest my hand on the keyboard, I'm not activating anything until I intentionally press a key. Using a typing aid with a key guard can also be a great option. This is the ABC version, but there's a QWERTY layout as well. As you can see, the Kinesis Advantage is an adapted keyboard designed to maintain your hands and wrists in proper ergonomic position. By placing your hands on the palm supports, you can avoid stressful bending of the wrist, while the concave structure reduces hand and finger extension. Today we've highlighted just a few of the many assistive technology options available here in our computer lab. Hopefully you learned something new and useful. Stay tuned for a future video where we explore innovative high-tech computer options, such as the Glass House.
All right, so hopefully that gave you a good idea of some of the things that we have in the center. Let me go ahead and next slide. So now we're going to switch over to the live feed and show you a few more examples. All right, and you can see the live feed, is that right, someone?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, so starting with, let me move the mic a little closer. Starting with this example, in the video we saw the Big Keys. This is kind of another version of the Big Keys. It's called the IT keys. So you can see the keys themselves are a little bit larger, and there's also this key guard that you can take on and off, similar to the Big Keys, and that allows for an intentional press of the key itself. The other unique feature about this one is, you can probably guess, the color coding. So as you can see, all the punctuation has the same color, all the numbers are the same color, so it kind of groups together maybe those with cognitive issues or someone who just needs to see things grouped together. So like consonants are all blue, the vowels are lighter blue. So it might make it a little bit easier when you're learning to type, or even typing, you know, for the long haul. So the IT keys can be really useful, and this is wireless. I think all the ones I show you during the live feed are wireless, and that's always a great option, especially when it comes to assessing the environment the person's going to be working in or going to school. When it comes to positioning, it's much easier to position this in the appropriate way, whether that's on a desk or a wheelchair tray, or even just like a lap desk that can be adjusted. So wireless devices are always, good considerations when you're looking for devices. So here's an example of this larger keyboard. So I'm gonna move that back out of the way and show you the next one. So we're kind of getting smaller and smaller as we go through. So this is also a wireless, it's a Bluetooth keyboard. And as you can probably notice, the letters are a little bit larger on the keys themselves. That text is very bold, so it makes it easier to see. And also the background, there's a little bit of a glare, but it's bright yellow. So this contrast can really help individuals maybe with low vision or those with vision needs. So this one can be a great option. And because it's Bluetooth, you can connect it to an iPad or an Android and even a PC. So you really have some options when it comes to using this type of keyboard, the style keyboard. So this is a good one to consider as well. All right. And I said they were getting smaller. So here's the little baby one. So this is called the Mini keyboard. And this one was shown in the video. And you can see it's a full function wireless mouse and keyboard. So it kind of reminds us of, those little sidekick phones that we used to have back in the day. So it's very easy, whether the person has limited movement or weakness or even smaller hands, everything about this keyboard is just condensed. So you have all the standard keys and this touchpad with your clicking and space and enter and directional arrows. Everything you need to control a computer is right here in this handheld device. So this could be really useful for individuals. I know we've had success with people who maybe have had a stroke and they're using just one side. Whenever you're using it, you just place your hand here and you have access without having to, move your hands and wrist all around. You can just have it right here, placed properly, supported hand and wrist, and have full access to the mouse and keyboard. So this is also a good one to consider.
So Emily, just to interrupt a minute. So
Yeah.
During the live portion, the captions aren't being seen. So in the chat was the link to having the streaming captioning. If someone came in late and didn't hear that part. So if you just click on that, that you would be able to see that during this presentation part of it.
Yep. All right. So then the name of the smallest keyboard is the Mini. That's RII Mini. I think I saw someone ask that. Okay, so the next one is a Kensington Trackball. So this is a wireless mouse. Again, remember I said everything was going to be wireless. I'll show you for the most part. So this one can be either just a wireless USB or Bluetooth. So this is a trackball, and you can see it has this nice wrist support. So in real time, I know we're kind of rotated here, but I would place my wrist here. It's nice and supported, and this is a trackball. So I can control the entire cursor without having to move my hand or wrist at all. It takes very little fine motor control. So when you're considering someone maybe with arthritis or stress tension injury, even carpal tunnel, this could be one to consider when you're doing an assessment or trying to find a device that will work well for you. So my wrist is supported. I'm able to move the trackball around. It even has this scroll wheel, which is helpful on pages or documents where you're doing a lot of scrolling. The other great benefit of this specific mouse, and I know there's other mice available on the market, but each of these buttons are customizable. So I could have, you know, my standard left click programmed here, right click here. I could have a drag option programmed here, and then maybe a, you know, back page button programmed here, as well as when I hit two buttons that could perform an action, and these two buttons can perform an action. So all that's done through a companion software, but it really allows the person to customize to their needs. And especially if someone's in a school or work environment where they're working with software, and some of those tasks, when it's, you know, dragging or going back and forth between pages, it can be very helpful to have the ability to program, you know, and customize those options for your buttons. So we really like this one. We've had success with this one. And like I said, we have a lot to choose from here at the center, but also just out on the market when it comes to trackball options. So the Kensington brand, you know, this one works well for folks. All right. So now we're going to look at, let me get it in the camera view here. So this is the wireless big track trackball. And in the video, we showed the wired version. So I wanted to make sure to show the wireless as well. And this also can be used with a USB or Bluetooth. So it allows you to use this trackball with PCs or tablets, mobile devices, a lot of different options. So sometimes the person you're working with or yourself, you only have a tablet or you only have, you know, certain devices that you have access to. So finding something that's compatible with what that person already has, you know, that's a consideration as well. So you can see with this one, you have a large target area trackball, and the left and right click buttons are nicely spaced apart. And I believe in the video, we even talked about how some people, you know, you don't necessarily have to use your hand, or the person you're working with doesn't have to use their hand with this device. You could move it to the floor and they could use their foot. Or you could even use a typing aid or your wrist, you know, different areas of the body where you feel most comfortable and you're able to perform the task successfully. That's where you want to go with. So this trackball here is another great option to consider. And you can see they have, let me scoot it over, the switch ports on the sides. So if you're working with someone and they are still having a hard time accessing these two buttons, you can plug in a switch instead. And I have one right here to show. Let me get it. So this is the ultimate switch here. Sorry, I'm trying to get it in the camera. So you can use your hand, you can use your foot, your knee, your head, whatever part of the body, like I said, is most consistent and reliable. This just plugs, here's the end of it. So the end of the switch just plugs right into the mouse, and then the switch takes over the function of that left click or right click. So you could have a switch for each, or just maybe one side is harder to access than the other side. You could plug a switch into there. So these are all options to consider for people that you're working with, whether someone has a physical disability or maybe they need some cognitive supports, or even like this one, if you need maybe a high contrast keyboard or something, if you have a vision impairment, that can really stand out to help people be the most independent and successful they can be, whether it's, you know, a social hour or working, playing, going to school. You know, right now we're all dealing with virtual and we're on our computers and tablets, so providing access to those things are very important. And at our center, we have a lot of different options to explore. That's like Nancy said, when you come into our center, that's why we want you to come in, is because you can be hands-on and try all these devices and compare and contrast while you're here. And then we can help you when it comes to, deciding which ones to try and the considerations to, take into to play. So now I'm going to switch back to the PowerPoint. All right, so, and you can see these are just pictures of what I just showed you, still shots. Okay, so now I think we just left a little bit of time. If you had any specific questions about any of the products you saw or just any device that might have worked well for you, you're able to unmute yourself and contribute if you'd like. And Nancy, if I missed anything, you feel free to jump in. Or were there any questions in the chat?
No, I just had somebody that wondered if we could send them a list of some of the products that we showed today.
Okay.
And so I think I had them put their email in the chat so we can follow up.
Great.
If there's any specific questions about those products, I'm trying to read that at the same time, but if anybody, like Emily said in the last few minutes, wants to unmute and just ask a question, feel free to do that as well. All right, I'm just copying this. So
I had a quick question.
Okay, there we go.
Hi, sorry, can I still ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
So I just thought this was a really useful presentation, and also like the information is really great, and I didn't even know you guys existed until I got an email from somebody else the other day. I just found it a little bit difficult to register for the well, I mean, it was easy to register for the webinar, but there's no option to like add it to my Google Calendar easily, and I think that might just make it easier, more accessible for more people to attend these things, because they're pretty great. So I was wondering if there's anyone I can talk to about how you can make the website a little bit more user friendly so that more people would remember to come after registering.
Thank you for that. We have someone from FAAST that's on the call, so I'm sure she's taking notes of your comments.
Sure.
And hopefully find a way to follow up on those very helpful suggestions.
Cool. And is there a website where you guys have some of this information, like the slides or the devices you guys have in stock, or information about them?
So the website, the FAAST has a main website that has the link to all the different regional centers and all the services they provide. My understanding is they will be recording the different presentations that the regional centers are offering, and that they're going to be posting them on, I guess they have a YouTube channel that they'll be posting them. So they also have, in the same way we talked about that we have equipment in our center, they also have a statewide lending library of equipment. And so I think if you go to their website, that is at FAAST.org, you can browse through their lending library. But by all means, feel free to contact any of us to find out how to get more information. On the next slide is our contact information that you can either email us at faastcen@tgh.org, or you can call us at 813-844-7591. If you're not in our region, we still be able to give you information, but we can also direct you to, are you from Florida?
Yeah, I'm in the Miami area.
Okay.
Are you guys?
Yeah, yeah, so we can definitely refer you to that center. We all have a little bit different equipment, but we still all provide the same level of services.
Okay, great. And it's just like a community service that's provided for people with disabilities?
It's provided to anybody, so it could be people with disabilities, it could be people that work with individuals with disabilities, their family members, professionals, anybody wanting more information.
Okay, awesome. And it's free to just come in and make an appointment or call, email in or something and all that?
Yes, so right now everything's different across the different regional centers. Our office is open by appointment. We're there 2 days a week, but every center has different setup right now.
Got it. Okay, and the main website is FAAST.org.
FAAST.org, correct.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other comments, questions? Emily, you were seeing things I didn't see in the chat, I think.
It's been addressed.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. So thank you all for joining us this morning. We will be back in a couple of weeks with a different topic. Hope you will join us then. It's on low-tech eating resources. But there are plenty of other presentations that are being offered in between and afterwards. So thank you. Have a wonderful day and stay safe, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.